Welcome to the Business Owner Spotlight Series. My name is Gabriel Moore. I am the senior partner here at Action Coach Vanguard Business Coaching in Central Iowa. Today, I have Rich Bales, the owner of Bales Insurance Solutions, LLC, as my guest. We're going to be talking about his business, his journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek into what it's really like to build and operate a business. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop new conversations just like this one. Rich, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks a ton, Gabe. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, me too, man. And please, let's start off. Give me a brief overview of your background and tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll go back to the beginning. I'm an Iowa boy through and through. So
All right.
um was born here in Des Moines, spent some time here, lived in Winterset, moved to Pella, spent most of my childhood in the city of tulips. So
City of
um
Tulips.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So after that, I went off to college at Iowa State where I ran track for 4 years.
Okay.
Um And it's funny. It's funny. I tell this story all the time now where I was dead set on being a doctor. Um,
That's a
and
shift.
yeah. And so here I am, an insurance agent, kind of that natural trajectory.
Right.
Um, and in hindsight, I think the reason I wanted to pursue that field was it was just what I perceived as that's what successful looks like, right?
Sure.
Had a couple friends growing up whose parents were physicians, and I cherished them and I looked up to them a ton. And I think that's what made me think like, hey, that's what I got to be successful,
It's a
right?
perception thing, right? It's that kind
Yeah,
of childlike perception thing.
it was. Yeah. And so from there, didn't end up going the full doctor path, but I ended up in medical device sales. So knew I wanted to stay around medicine, enjoyed that, got into medical device sales along the way. I grew, I became a manager. I was looking over a lot of people and across multiple states, stuff like that. Really enjoyed it. Kind of found that my way of selling was actually just educating. I was never the guy who had some slick pitch for you, but I thought if I could teach you something and create value for you, then we could do business together. And that served me very well in that career.
How did
Um,
uh how did management actually, you said you were kind of managing then,
yeah,
and you and I spoke on the phone also. You said you did some team training and stuff like that too,
yeah,
right? How did
yeah,
that actually help, where you are now? That
yeah,
that, that kind of experience.
yeah. It was a home run. So um, with that, it just made me realize that, my passion for educating my customers really translated into the team members under me. So what I think a lot of business owners struggle with, and I understand this now, having this thing in the past, is I started out as the guy, right? I was the guy
Mhm.
in every sales call that the surgeons trusted, wanted to work with, things like that. And I tell everyone this, though, I think one of the biggest challenges you will run into as a business owner is that transition of trust,
Oh, here we
right?
go.
So
Yeah.
all of a sudden, when you pull yourself out from being the guy to saying, hey, these guys are better than I ever was, trust them. They're the ones that you're going to call. That's difficult.
It's
So
we have to set the ego down, right? I mean, it's kind of an ego
100%.
thing. We have to set that down. We think we're more valuable than everyone else, kind of thing.
Right. And I think the mindset of, hey, I am training you guys to be as good as me can't be the mindset. The mindset has to be, I want you to be better than I've ever been.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to be the guy that's going to help clear the path so you don't run into the stumbling things that I did. Right.
Clear
So
the path. I love it.
um, that really helped me as I began to navigate my way into doing this. Um, and then also while I was in the medical device sales world, I started investing in real estate as well, which just kind of gave me a taste of, hey, this is what it's like when you're on the hook for every step, every little piece
Yeah.
of this, and that just opened my eyes to like, hey, there's a lot to this, but I kind of like it. I don't necessarily like having to, answer to somebody and run things my own way. And that was awesome. Just the freedom of that really motivated me to say, hey, I think I can do this at some point. And then, yeah, I got married, had a kid, and just realized as I looked at, the long term, which you don't necessarily do as a young man.
It's
I went
more
from thinking,
difficult for sure.
yeah, when you're young, my thought was, hey, I want to make as much money as I can as fast as I can.
Right.
And not that money is not important, but um, these other things became more important. And so when I looked at what will my life look like 30 years from now if I'm still doing what I'm doing today, um, I didn't necessarily love that picture. So I said,
What
hey,
a great question to ask yourself when you're young.
yeah,
More young people need to really ask and really feel that one out because it's powerful, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. I mean, when you think about it from that perspective, it was like, you know what? Like, I don't want to be talking about devices and surgery when I'm old, right? Like I want to have the ability to unplug and not be requesting PTO, and things like that. So it was just, it was one of those things where I went, man, I feel like I'm living a little bit of like a dream job at this point in time, but I got to step back and start over because the long-term trajectory just isn't right.
And that's the entrepreneurial mindset too, Rich. That's the entrepreneur really doesn't fall in line as easy and really kind of wants to chart their own path. You had mentioned before in that team environment, you're clearing the path for people to be their best selves, right? I mean, that's that are underneath you. Taking that into an entrepreneurial setting, that's mind blowing. That's amazing. And what we teach at Action Coach, the owner is responsible for the team, not the customers or the business, the team. And because the team will take care of the customers will take care of the business, and the business will take care of the owner. If
Yeah.
you've got that handled, or if you've got a big piece of that chunk already taken care of, you're going to soar.
Yeah. Well, let's hope so.
I hope so. Tell
Yeah.
us about what role you currently play in the business right now. What does that
Yeah.
look
Yeah, so it's we're still fairly early on in this where we're coming up on year 2. I still play a big piece in producing. And kind of the way our business is structured, just to backpedal a little bit here. So Bales Insurance Solutions, I hang my hat at Philip Stafford Insurance Group, which is kind of a way we use to leverage ourselves in the market, where there's a bunch of us that all partner with Philip Stafford Insurance Group to essentially get us more carriers, things like that, where, if I was on my own, I may have access to 5 or 6 carriers, where if there's 16 of us all pushing premium to all these different carriers, we've got over 200.
Yeah, a lot
So
more options.
yeah, a lot more
Bigger
options, but
conglomerate. Yeah.
within that, I still have the flexibility where, my business is my business. If it just wants me to be, if it's just going to be me forever, it can be. But I don't think that's going to scratch the itch that I've got. So right now, a big piece of what I do is a main producer, right? It's getting money in the door to this business, but
Sure.
the other thing that eats up probably the other half of my time is building out the systems and structure and all of those things that I know from past experience that I need to be doing: onboarding, training, all of that stuff to scale faster, right? So
Hmm.
um, it's a little bit of setting the bricks ahead of myself so that we can go fast later. But just brought on our first staff member about a month ago. I've got the first sales guy coming on at the beginning of next
Okay.
month. And as we're doing that, we're really identifying like, okay, I want to know in your first 6 months, what are the roadblocks? What are the questions? What are the things that maybe are intuitive to me, but not to you?
Yeah.
And as we've been documenting all those things via videos, stuff like that, tossing them in an ebook. That way, now that we have one person in place, I can say, hey, when I trained you as project or, person number 1, I was the contact. Now, when we bring on person number 2, here's the ebook for the first 6 months, refer to that first, and then come to me. So just finding ways to streamline that, pull myself out of it.
It's
And
kind
then
of like a
also,
pay it forward thing, right?
yeah, 100%. It's, short-term sacrifice, long-term gain. So
S
I want to do it.
well, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to do it slow and steady this time so we get
Yeah.
it right. And then once that foundation's laid, then we'll have the ability to move quick. Because right
Now
now
we're
I'm the
talking.
bottleneck.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Isn't
yeah,
that something? Isn't that something?
yeah,
I'm just really glad that's something that you can even see, right? The
yeah,
owner's almost all the time the bottleneck of the growth of the company.
yep,
That's
exactly.
fantastic that you said that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, for me now, it's really just identifying, as I go through my day, what can be automated, what can't be
Yes.
automated, where do we need bodies, what do those
Yeah.
people need to be doing, and who fits that seat, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
So let's back up a little bit.
yeah,
So you're talking about absolutely in the process of growing the business. We've got a situation where you're working in the business, like you said, you're still producing, you're still maybe the main producer, and you are doing a lot of the in the business. What is the difference? What is the ratio between how often you're working in the business compared to how much time you're able to put on the business? You know, you're a father of one, you're married, so you still have your family element that you really have to be a part of. How do you how do you manage that? What does that look like?
Yeah, I won't say that it's all sunshine and rainbows. As I think anybody getting into running their own business should know, is there is a period of time where it's going to be a grind, and I'm very much living that right now. Where um, my wife and I, every year we sit down and we talk about our goals and our strategies and what things are going to be. And I maintain that the whole reason I did this was making family a priority and looking at our long-term success and stuff like that. So,
Very good.
what I would love to say is that I have 3 or 4 hours a day that I can just hang out with my family, but that's not the reality.
Sure.
So I've set aside, I'm very intentional. Everything in my life is fairly structured and scheduled, and it's for a reason. I just operate well when that's the case. So,
Sure.
my mornings are devoted to getting my daughter ready. I'm the one who takes her to school every day. That's intentional time with her. When I get home till putting her to bed, usually that's about an hour. That is really intentional time with her as well. And then, my wife and I say every day we're gonna have 30 minutes where there's no distractions or anything. Um,
Good.
because that emotional and relational health is so key to me being able to be successful on the business side as well.
Isn't that a
Uh,
fact?
yeah. So,
Mhm.
and my wife is in her third trimester right now too. So it does benefit me that she's super tired. So she goes to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock every night. Um, so that being said, a lot of my extra, I would say like overtime in the
That's
business is
great.
done from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Okay.
Where it's
Okay.
either catching up on stuff I didn't have time for during the day, or, a lot of times I try to break down that last like hour of my day to be like, okay, this is where I can really focus on my business. And it's
Sure.
it's very easy to get caught in the weeds of only working in it, just because we're
Yeah.
busy and I want to feed the business, and you want to see more money coming in the door. But
Yeah.
the more time I spend optimizing what I do, the more business we get, and it proves itself true every time. So
Yeah. When you're
uh,
inside that fire, Rich, it's difficult to see how big the fire is.
yeah,
You know, when you're literally surrounded by everything's burning, you need that 30,000 foot view, right? You need to
yep,
get up above above what it is, or at least have somebody supportive that can help see that while you're in the fire, or
yep.
your radio and the captain or something. It's like, okay, which way do I go, left or right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So I mean, to answer your
yeah,
question, that was a long answer to a short
that's
question,
okay.
but
That's okay.
you know, I would say I'm probably 80% in the business, 20% on the business, but
That's a lot more than a lot of owners out there, Rich. So that's really
yeah.
good. That's really
Yeah.
good.
Yep. So, but it's the more I do it, the more I see where it comes from. And I've been
Of
fortunate that
course.
I've had enough people around me that have really encouraged me, like, hey, take the time to build out systems, build out processes. And uh,
Good.
I
It's
really think that's one thing that's early on has differentiated me, and it's where I've focused.
yeah.
Uh,
And keep
so
those people close because those type of
yeah,
people that help you with that, that's good. That's a good support system.
yeah,
I want to talk about what makes your business unique. And before you answer this question, Rich, I want to give you a clue or a hint on how maybe don't answer it like this.
yeah,
If you say things like best customer service or we're the fastest, we're the strongest,
yeah,
just know that probably everybody says that, right? And it
totally.
really kind of takes away that uniqueness. But if you could think about what's unique with your business, what do you think? What do you think really actually sets you apart?
Yeah, no, this is great. So I actually, this topic specifically is something that I have taught classes on.
Excellent.
And it's how I consistently position myself with all of my partners.
Okay.
Um, I think in nearly every sales job and business in the world, you are taught to fill your own cup and how to do
Mhm.
that. And a lot of times that is, I can guarantee you when it comes to insurance agents, financial advisors, real estate agents, whatever it might be, everybody who's kind of in this financial world, the majority of their meetings are exactly what you said. Hey, I'll get you the quickest quote. It'll be the cheapest quote, whatever.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay. If I do that, I have now positioned myself to be no more valuable than anybody else in the
Yeah,
marketplace.
price shopper. You're
Exactly.
attracting price shoppers.
Exactly. So it's
Yep.
learning to speak cost versus value, right?
Yes. Yes.
So my business not being so much focused on selling, but being focused on education has given me a large step up.
Let's
Um,
go.
so every client I work with, not only are they getting a quote where I'll tell you this, if you need me to execute on insurance, I'm going to execute on insurance, but that's
Of
about
course.
2 seconds of our conversation.
So how
But
do you
I,
deliver that educational level? What
yeah,
does that look
so
like?
Yeah, so there's a lot of facets to this, but
Okay.
I'm big on tech. I think I'm in a very antiquated industry that really limits what we can do or has really limited what people can do for people for a long time. So I've incorporated a lot of technology into what I do that really allow me to do this in a scalable fashion. So
Sure.
every client I get gets a recorded video of me just like this. And on that same screen, they're going to have a picture of, here's your quote. And we're going to go line by line through, this is what these coverages mean. This is an example of where you would use them. This is what's optional. This is what it's costs. If you want to peel this off, you can, but I'm going to leave that up to you now that you know how it works. Right. And the amount of feedback I get from people who go, oh my gosh, I have been a consumer of, commercial insurance for my business or home and auto insurance for the last 20 years, and I've never understood what any of this meant. That's where the
Isn't,
difference happens.
isn't
Right.
that something?
And, the other piece of this and why I teach these classes is I'll sit down with a group of real estate agents in an office and go, okay, there's 3,000 real estate agents in Des Moines. Why are you different?
Mm.
And that's a hard question to
It is
ask.
a hard question.
And it's a hard
Education is
question to
not what I
answer.
hear a lot.
Um, but when so then I say like, okay, like start thinking about how you can be different because you're not going to out care everybody. You're not going to outsmart everybody. That's not an answer that anybody cares to hear, but if you have that value
Okay.
proposition, which education is one for me, and then the
I
other
like it.
piece is I've learned like what's really built my business quick is I've learned to fill everybody's cup around me. So any client
Clearing the
that
path
comes
for nurturing people. No, clearing the path for people to grow. You said it earlier. Yeah,
exactly.
I
So
agree.
every client that we have come in our door is tagged in our system, so I know where they came from. I know they came from a realtor, they came from a financial advisor, they came from another business owner. And now my goal is let me make sure my entire world is plugged into them. So, hey, you just bought your first house. Next step is you're going to have some other financial goals. You need to meet a financial advisor who's a 10 out of 10. Let me
There you
introduce
go.
you. If you're a business owner, I bet taxes suck. Let me introduce you to the best CPA in Des
Pet
Moines.
taxes.
Right? It's like all those different things like, hey, you probably don't have a broker that can help you build out your new commercial space. I'll plug you into one. So,
Now, you're basically developing a team around you of professionals whom you trust and who
yep,
you're going to be able to fill their cup. They're going to help you fill your client's cup. It's a win-win all the way around.
right.
We call those strategic alliances, and they're absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. And then at that point, they go, okay, well, my insurance went up $500 this year. Who cares? Because we want Rich in our corner.
Sure.
Right. And now it's
Yeah.
not about
And
cost.
now
It's
it's
not about
about
cost at
you. It's
all
not
anymore.
about the price.
They
Correct.
just go, if we need anything, we call Rich because he knows somebody. Right. And
Now
now
that
there's
could
an
be a
incentive.
double-edged sword, Rich, because we just kind of talked about how do you get yourself out of that.
Yeah.
We call rich, we call rich, we call rich. If that's a mindset that your customer has, it's going to be a lot more difficult to pull yourself away from that and
Yep.
give that trust to someone else. So, what kind of
Yeah.
moves might you make now that could ensure that going forward?
Yeah. So most of it is automated at this point, actually. So
Okay.
with that system, if I know where you came from, you're automatically rolled into a drip campaign. So, um, if I know the only person that you've got is a financial advisor that I know over the next, between the day you start with me and 2 years from now, you're going to get messaging saying, hey, if you're thinking about buying or selling a house, just click this button, hit me a response back, and I'll get you connected with my person. Now that goes to our team inbox, right?
Mhm.
Same thing. Come tax season, there's gonna be something sent out to all those people that I don't know their tax guy. Same thing. They come back to
Right.
our thing. Now we have an automated, we've got templates built out via Gmail where it's like, hey, here's a quick introduction, connect with the person, whatever.
Okay.
So and that's reproducible for a team, right? Because not everybody's gonna
Yeah.
trust the same people I trust, but If they need them, they can use mine. If they go make their own connections, they can use their own. But now it's automated to the point where I'm not having to call everybody and go, "Hey, that's Rich checking in. Who do
Yeah,
you use for
no
tax?"
doubt. And it doesn't have to be you. It can be automated.
Yeah,
Hey, I
and
want to
with
get to a couple of these other questions, Rich, if
yeah,
that's all right.
yeah, please do.
Specifically in your type of business, one, do you track leads?
Track leads meaning like where they're at in the process, conversion rates, all that stuff.
Specifically, do you track all interest in your service? Anybody that contacts you is interested in your service. We count that as a lead.
Yeah,
Um, do you track that now?
yeah. So we've got a
Excellent.
CRM that documents all of it.
Very good. That was
So
going
we
to be my
know,
next question.
yeah, yep. So I know my conversion rate. I know how many people I talk to every week. I know how many people it
Brilliant.
takes to talk to get to, our goals as a team.
And
That's
how valuable is
isolated
that information for you?
extremely. Yeah, I mean, um, yeah, and that's something that'll be dialed down per person, per whatever. Even our service side has goals when it comes to things that benefit the team, whether that be like net clients we increase
Yeah,
per year, Google reviews, all of those things. Everybody is incentivized towards
that's
things that
fantastic.
help the business grow. So,
Yeah, that's
um,
great.
yeah,
That's seriously great. Not a lot of companies have that. There's a lot of business owners out there that are still in the process of kind of understanding the power of it, right? And
yep,
I'm glad that you've kind of got that handled. We are running out of time a little bit here, so
yeah.
I want to shoot out some rapid fire questions at you. We've covered a lot of ground right now, so please come back, watch this. Rich has obviously just shared a bunch of great nuggets, really good nuggets, that you should be considering and maybe taking notes on, as I have been this whole call. But as we begin to wrap up, Rich, I've got a few rapid fire questions, quick top ahead answers. So one
Okay,
word or one sentence. You ready?
okay, yeah. Let's do it.
Let's go. What is the key to success for you?
Consistency.
Oh, good one. Good one. What is the one piece of advice for other business owners
Uh, One word.
or one sentence?
Okay, I would say consistency.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I don't want to let you cheat, but
Yeah.
because you're not supposed to say the same thing over and over
Okay.
again.
Well, then I would say pace.
Which kind of like consistency. Pace. I love that. No, I really do. What is the one book you're reading right now or have read most recently?
Yeah. So 10 times is easier than 2 times.
It's a big one.
Yep.
All right. And then if you had to choose only one area of your business you could immediately improve tomorrow, what would it be?
Scale.
Scale. Excellent. And before we get into the final question of the day, how can others learn more about you and your company, Rich? How can they get in contact?
Yeah. I would say the most consistent way to consume information from me would be via my social media. You can find me on Instagram under Rich Bales Insurance, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. It's all there. There's consistent stuff that comes out there, and all of my info is on there as well.
Fantastic. And last question, Rich, you ready?
Yep.
What is most inspiring to you today?
What you're doing, just connecting people that think this way, I think is massive.
Let's
Um,
go.
yeah, I think it's a really underserved group, honestly, as business owners, where they're not connected with each other very often. Um, they're really focused in their own worlds, but don't get tied together to see those overlaps. So, this is a pretty cool opportunity to make that happen.
I appreciate you and I appreciate you for saying that.
Yeah,
We really do have some pretty authentic intentions for this program. And even though it gets our name out there a lot more, we're business owners just like you, right? It is 100% win-win. Rising tides raises all ships. As we wrap up, I just want to say thank you, Rich. Thank you so much for being on this program.
yeah. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's been an amazing spotlight on your journey as not just a business, but as an owner as well. And I am deeply grateful for you just allowing me to kind of peek under the hood and see what's going on under there.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next time and seeing you taking it to the next level, which honestly, man, I know that you're going to do. I know that you're
Thank
going
you.
to do it.
Thank you.
This has been the Business Owner Spotlight with Rich Bales of Bales Insurance Solutions, LLC. and your host, me, Gabriel Moore, with Action Coach Business Coaching. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.